American and Caribbean Studies, the Center for Gender in Global Context, and Peace and Justice Studies. Other co-sponsors are the Friends Committee on National Legislation, Lattice, the Peace Education Center, the Santa Club of East Lansing, and the Santa Club of Michigan Capital Area. So please join me as well in giving them a hand. Now, you are all valued guests, but I do want to highlight a special group here with us this evening, with which over the years, Luna has developed a close personal relationship. These are the Humphrey Fellows. The Hubert H. Humphrey Fellowship Program is a Fulbright exchange program that brings accomplished mid-career professionals from developing countries to the United States for a year of study, professional development, and networking. Present with us this evening is this year's Humphrey Fellows, and I ask them to stand for just a moment as I introduce them. Thomas Abdelhadi from Egypt. Ramin Asif from Pakistan. Alpha Baldi from Guinea. Romina Chung from Guyana. Hayat Yong from South Korea. Kitimon Kaumani from Thailand. Iliin Lo Azika from Nicaragua. Hilafruz Mama Jonova. Nelly Stephanie Nasser from Malaysia. Jimmy Indi Nhofu Wawyo from Tulum. Sinuan Ba from Cambodia. So delighted to have them with us, and I really encourage you to make time to get to know them. They are some wonderful people and just very interesting opportunity to meet someone from another land. So I hope you'll make time to do that. Theme for this evening's program is equality, freedom, and justice for all. These words are drawn from the International Declaration of Human Rights, for which the UN will mark the 75th anniversary of its adoption on December 10th of this year. The IDHR represents our highest ideals for the treatment of our fellow human beings. Obviously, we repeatedly fall short of achieving those ideals. In his book, Would the World Be Better Without the UN, Thomas Weiss writes, while the discrepancy between rhetoric and reality remains stark, human rights reality would be far worse without decades of UN efforts. So may the people and events of this evening give you a sense of hope that we, the peoples of the world, can and will do better. Now let us listen to the thoughts of UN General Secretary Antonio Guterres.
Bear with me for a second.
The United Nations is a reflection of the world as it is, and an aspiration of the world we know it can be. It's our responsibility to help build that world of peace, sustainable development, and human rights for all. I know we can do it. The Charter of the United Nations, which entered into force 78 years ago today, points the way. Above all, it is rooted in a spirit of determination to build divisions, repair relations, and build peace. To expand opportunities and leave no one behind. To ensure justice, equality, and empowerment for women and girls. To provide life-saving relief to those in need. And to be flexible enough to address challenges that did not even exist when the UN was born. From the existential climate crisis to the perils and problems of artificial intelligence. The United Nations is guided by timeless values and principles, but it must never be frozen to time. That is why we must always keep stressing ways of working and applying a 21st century lens to all we do. On this United Nations Day, let us commit to open determination to build a better world of our aspirations. Let us commit to a future that lives up to the name of our indispensable organization. We are a divided world. We can and must be United Nations. United Nations.
It's my pleasure to introduce to you this evening the Horn Section 7. This young family group of singers, dancers, actors, songwriters, and producers bring a great deal of energy and personality to their performances. They are inspired by their faith to share with the world. Their talent took them overseas this past summer to perform with Czech Symphony Orchestra and its featured soloists. With much love, adoration, and direction from their national jazz recording artist dad, Darren Mr. Horn, and national gospel recording artist mom, Anna Maria Paisley Horn, the Horn Section 7 is here to share their music with you tonight. Friends, welcome the Horn Section 7.
Good evening. What an honor to be in a room with such distinguished people. I can honestly tell you that this has been a dream come true, that I would be able to look out in a room and have a chance to share some love and light with people I haven't had a chance to know yet, but you look like you're wonderful people. Man, it is so wonderful. And so my children and I would like to share just some light love and song. I hope you enjoy. Please welcome Kingston, our soloist.
Ready?
Happy birthday, what birthday? Da, 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 da.
This next song that we get to share with you, Kingston actually helped me write it. The music on it and the kids helped me with the lyrics as well. And it is just, it speaks to the important work that we do every day in helping and doing the difficult work in our cities and in our countries and in our neighborhoods, making sure that there is diversity, there is equality, equity, and all the things that are important to the quality of life for every human being.
Right?
I have a question for everyone listening. Do you still believe that in the future and we have a chance? And I'll how it goes. Do it for love, do it for peace. But destiny, do it for me. In your life, to get better. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to be the best. You
Thank you so very much, Orange Section 7. Well, I hope we're off to a good start. And you're probably a little hungry. A little salad wasn't quite enough. So, I think we'll take a break here and y'all can have some dinner. So we'll draw back together at 6 o'clock. Thank you.
We'll just be playing some songs while we have our dinner. And
Okay,
I'm hoping our guest will join anytime, so I might be testing the audio video with him. In case I speak again, it will be hopefully with him.
okay,
To be
we'll
here.
be listening.
Yeah, thank you.
It always brings to mind Sam Dale's father, which I learned when I was working with Central Africa a number of years ago.
You need to be closer, try closer to the mic. Lean in, try closer to the mic.
Yeah, it's on.
Now, can you hear it now? Well, what I was saying, what comes to mind on such a full stomach, especially at this time as we're just on the verge of entering the American season of feasting and festive enjoyment, is that the Zambian proverb that says, when one sets a portion for oneself, usually it's not too small. And so I'm here to ask you to think about setting a portion for the children of the world through UNICEF. Just this week, UNICEF has set us all out an opportunity to have our gifts to them matched by a factor of 5. So $50 becomes $250 in UNICEF coffers. And at this time, with the crises of the world that we are facing, with our earthquakes in places that we never thought we would happen, 3 of them alone in Afghanistan, with floods in Libya, which were almost unknown in that North African country, with one of the world's most humanitarian crises in Yemen, a war that the U.S. actually assisted Saudi Arabia in fighting against the Yemenis, where there are apparently 11 million children in Yemen at risk now, without food, without medical care that they are needing. Since the Saudis use the U.S. air intelligence identifying clinics, schools, and public markets not to hit, actually use the U.S. air intelligence to hit those very targets. And so Yemen is in a desperate crisis, and UNICEF is trying to deal with it. And all that is going on at the same time that UNICEF, as it does every year, immunizes about 2/3 of the world's children against polio, measles, and other childhood diseases. It's quite astonishing that they do that. And they do such a good job in the immunization that the World Health Organization has asked UNICEF to take over the coordination of COVID and any other future pandemic vaccines to the global south. And so UNICEF is really, really busy now with dealing with all these pressing crises. But that's while they're always still doing all the efforts that they do every year. Estimate about 450 humanitarian crises a year are occurring around the world to which UNICEF responds, including, by the way, the crisis on our southern border with the immigrants piling up in Mexico and in Texas, seeking entry to the U.S. UNICEF is even picking up some of our own responsibilities there. And but perhaps the crisis that really comes most immediately to mind is what's going on in Gaza. You may have seen on television that actually 20 trucks were allowed in the Egyptians' side. And if you notice, a couple of those trucks had UNICEF symbols on them. UNICEF was flying in emergency supplies, everything from vaccinations, clean water, tarpaulins, learning materials, etc., from the big UNICEF warehouse in Copenhagen. And they have continuing to send those. And as you know, it was only after Secretary Gutierrez negotiation, another aspect of UN services that we don't think of very often, that actually Israelis allowed the gate to be open and 20 trucks to come in. There are another 100 trucks still waiting. The 20 will provide somewhere between 3 and 4% of the urgent supplies and needs of the entire Gaza population, 3 to 4%. So the need is desperate. Was there already. Some of the very few medical supplies that are getting to the hospitals haven't been bombed in Gaza. Actually have been provided by UNICEF, which pre-position, as they say, stored in warehouses inside Gaza, medical supplies, clean water, and so. But those warehouses are emptying very, very fast. And I was struck that the medical supplies, especially, are making their. I was reading today that the many of the operations are now being done without anesthesia in Gaza, and that the surgeons are down to using needles, sewing needles, in order to put into. And because of the lack of chemicals such as alcohol and other betadine and other stringents to kill bacteria in wounds, they have been using vinegar instead. And now the shops are running out of vinegar. So the crises and the needs are just immense. So I'm here to say, we'll give you a leaflet on your way out tonight, which will give you the data on where to put your money in. The 5x match, 5 times match, the tax deductible, give to UNICEF, to the children. And as Section 7 saying to us tonight, do it for love, do it for the children. Set a portion for the children. That's not too small. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dave. Didn't disappoint. Thank you so much, Diane. You'll get a chance to hear from her again a little bit later. I'm gonna continue on with the agenda. I mentioned earlier, Dr. Dax is in China. We don't know what's happening on his end, and so we still have not heard from him yet. So I'm going to continue the program that we would have had after, and we'll continue from there. And I'm sorry. Sometimes these things happen. Oh, if he doesn't come near the end of the program, I will make the award in absentia. So, I hope I don't have to do it. I know I can't give you the speech. So the next area we talk about is actually the global goals. So we're gonna be giving awards to those who are our global leaders in our community. I want to tell you a little bit about the global goals, which also are known as the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. They were adopted by all 193 United Nations member states in 2015. They provide a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and into the future. At its heart are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the logos of which are pictured in your program booklet. They are an urgent call for action by all countries, developed and developing in a global partnership. Our Global Goals Local Leaders Awards are given to people whose accomplishments move our world closer to the benchmarks set for the SDGs. Their efforts have often started before the SDGs were even conceived, but without whose efforts we would have started even further away from the envisioned targets. Each of tonight's Global Goals and Global Leader awardees are truly amazing people from right here in our own Lansing area community. I would like to now invite Luna member and President-elect Denise Quarles to come up and introduce our first awardees. Denise? Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Bob. My focus tonight is on Sustainable Development Goal 5, which is gender equality. Can you hear? My focus tonight is on Sustainable Development Goal 5, which is gender equality. One of the targets of this goal is to eliminate all harmful practices, such as child marriage, which most often adversely impacts girls. UNICEF has a global goal to end child marriage, and the U.S. State Department calls marriage before 18 a human rights abuse.
There are numerous organizations in the United States, including the Greater Lansing Youth Association. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. UNICEF has a global goal to end child marriage, and the U.S. State Department calls marriage before 18 a human rights abuse. There are numerous organizations in the United States, including the Greater Lansing UN Association, that have been working with the Unchained at Last organization to end child marriage, which had been allowed in all 50 states. Achieving this goal, of course, cannot be realized without legislative support and action. Tonight, we want to recognize two Michigan legislators for their strong advocacy and persistence, resulting in Michigan becoming the 10th state to end child marriage. In September, Governor Whitmer signed a final set of bills ending the possibility of marriage before the age of 18. Senator Sarah Anthony and Representative Kara Hope introduced several bills, not just 1 year, but multiple years, to change state laws. I can only imagine how many conversations the two of you had with your peers, sharing information about the detrimental effects of child marriage and advocating for support of your bills. Senator Sarah Anthony has always fought for equity and opportunity for all Michiganders, including the most vulnerable among us. Throughout her 20-year career in public service, Sarah has made history multiple times, serving as Mid-Michigan's first African-American woman to be elected to the Michigan House of Representatives and then the Michigan Senate. In 2023, she became the first Black woman to chair the powerful Senate Appropriations Committee. As chair of the House Democratic Caucus, she earned a reputation as a pragmatic, effective legislator, where she passed multiple bills into law with substantial bipartisan stakeholder and community support. She fights to strengthen education, expand healthcare, reform Michigan's criminal justice system, support workers, and uplift small business. Under her leadership, she has passed bills addressing college affordability, workforce developments, support for veterans, and housing issues. Before serving in the Capitol, Sarah Anthony was the youngest Black woman to serve on a county commission in the United States. During her time as a commissioner, she served in many leadership positions, including serving as chair and vice chair of the board. She was a fearless leader for healthcare access, social justice, services for senior citizens, and working families. In 2010, Senator Anthony began a near decade tenure as the deputy and interim executive director with the Michigan College Access Network. There she worked with school districts, community foundations, business leaders, and nonprofit organizations to provide funding and support for students. Her experience built her unique understanding of the barriers to higher education and economic opportunity facing Michiganders today, as well as the compounding effect on the skills gap facing Michigan employers. As state representative, Anthony was partnered with her colleagues on both sides of the aisle and the governor's administration to make real headway on the talent pipeline and pathway to economic success. For her work in the Capitol, she has been recognized nationally in such publications as the New York Times, Essence, the New Yorker, and Politico. She has been named Legislator of the Year from Business, Nonprofit, Education and Social Justice Group. Senator Anthony was born and raised in Lansing Southside, is a bachelor's degree from Central Michigan University and earned a master's degree from Western Michigan University. State Representative Kara Hope is serving her third term representing Michigan's 74th House District, which includes all of South Lansing and Delhi Township. The daughter of two corrections officers, Representative Hope learned early on about the value of public service. After receiving a bachelor's degree from Michigan State University, she returned to her hometown of Ionia, where she found work as a writer for Ionia Daily newspaper. Wanting to better serve her community, she soon enrolled at Cooley Law School in Lansing, where she was chosen as the managing editor of the Cooley Law Review and interned with the Innocence Project. Following law school, Representative Hope began work as a pre-hearing attorney in the Michigan Department of Appeals, Michigan Court of Appeals, not Department, Michigan Court of Appeals. After that assignment, she worked as a defense attorney before going on to teach as an adjunct professor back at Cooley Law School, and eventually started her solo practice in 2015, specializing in family law. After volunteering to work on a local environmental issue, she began considering serving her community in a political capacity and ran for the Ingham County Board of Commissioners in 2012, where she served until her election to the House. Service is at the core of State Representative Hope's work. She is the founding president of the all-volunteer nonprofit Hope Community Arts Council. And as in her capacity as a lawyer, she donated free legal services to Elder Law of Michigan, the Sam Corey Senior Center Club, and the Mid-Michigan Environmental Action Council. Senator Anthony and Representative Hope, will you join me on stage? This is for outstanding work in support of Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, dated October 22nd, 2023, from the United Nations Association of the USA and Greater Lansing Chapter.
Good evening. Good evening. This is such an honor. Thank you so much for presenting us with such a powerful award. When we started on this journey, I started in 2018 in the legislature. This was my very first bill that we introduced. And shortly after, when Representative Hope joined me in the House, this was one of our first bills that we partnered on, because we have to be concerned about the condition of women and girls. Both here in the state of Michigan and the United States and across the globe, because we know that when women and girls are uplifted and empowered in society, society overall does better. And so I'm excited that we were able to become one of the states that has officially banned child marriage. And this was something that often Representative Hope and I would say, why is this so difficult? Why is it taking so long? But we got it done. And I love the fact that we can, in some ways, rest a little easier knowing that this barbaric and archaic practice is no longer allowed in the state of Michigan. There's more work to be done to uplift women and girls across the state and country, But in our view, I think that this was a good step in the right direction. Lastly, I just wanted to say that this amazing coat I have on, I received in 2021. I was able to travel to Zimbabwe and at a gathering with elected officials, one of the biggest topics we talked about was child marriage and talked about this linkage between that country and the state of Michigan and our shared plight to ensure that this ended. And so this is in many ways, a shout out to the women who provided me with this beautiful coat. And lastly, I just wanted to say thank you for joining me, a few folks, my amazing sisters in Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated who are here and are always concerned about women and girls. And my partner, Chris Wright, was also here joining me today. So thank you for the
Thank you. I often have the dubious distinction of following Sarah Anthony. You know, I've learned to live in her shadow. It's okay. We're great friends and we've served together on the Ingham County Board of Commissioners and now in the Michigan Legislature. And Sarah and Denise both referenced why did it take so long? And I can tell you why it took so long. Gerrymandering. Yeah. Gerrymandering. So to me, the passage of the child marriage ban is not only hopeful for the girls in Michigan who will no longer be subject to that marriage practice, it's also hopeful for our democracy because you have a legislature now that is more representative of your values and we value children in Michigan. Thank you very much.
I love paparazzi. This is fun. Next, I would like to invite up our past president, Lynn Bartley, who will make the next award for global goals, local leaders.
Good evening, everyone. Many people retire and take their well-deserved rest, but not Willie White Bryan. After a full career as a research scientist, professor, and author, Willie has spent her time working toward repairing the breach caused by hundreds of years of injustices set upon our Black Americans. She reached out to her friends, Prince Salas and Pastor Jenkins, to share her thoughts, and a path to a solution was etched. Justice League of Greater Lansing, Michigan was soon founded. Carol Wallace, a member of First Presbyterian Church, one of several churches that responded to the call, shared, quote, Willie explained how slavery and government policy led to the racial wealth gap that we have today. She led book discussions and conversations on race. Our members asked, what can we do? Churches have donated to a fund that provides scholarships, help buying a first home, and startup business grants because of the program that Willie White Bryan founded. Justice League of Greater Lansing, Michigan. You who worked with Willie from the start could not be here today, but they wrote to me from afar, and I want to paraphrase what they've written. From Prince Salas, quote, Willie is dedicated to turning theory into practice and has a mind that is shaped toward finding genuine solutions. She has a great sense of humor, a caring nature, fine character, and ambition. And Pastor Stan Jenkins wrote, Willie Bryan is a courageous, prophetic voice for justice in the city of Lansing. She is an inspiration, tireless in her pursuit of justice, a true visionary. Willie Bryan and Justice League of Greater Lansing, Michigan work toward global goals addressing education, poverty, decent jobs, partnerships in the goals, and more. Please help me congratulate Willie White Bryan on the Global Goals Local Leader Award.
Good evening. And thank you to the UN Association and Greater Lansing Chapter for this great honor. And I'm so excited that we were able with the Justice League to achieve some of the sustainable goals. And I'd like to kind of give a shout out to friends who came to share with me tonight, and also to friends that I've met since I've been here tonight. So thank you. What I'd like to do, what's important to me, is to tell you why this award is so important to me and important for the organization. First, I want to let you know that you are recognizing and accepting the overwhelming need for acknowledgement, reconciliation, and reparation. Secondly, you're really honoring all of the volunteers and colleagues who have come on this journey with me. Thirdly, the reason I am receiving this award tonight is the Justice League of Greater Lansing, Michigan. The Justice League was conceived and developed because of the great, someone mentioned it already tonight, racial wealth gap. That the racial wealth gap is so prominent in our community and across the nation that this marginalizes African American communities because of racial injustices, and that has resulted in African Americans having no generational wealth. And that's really important. So I, along with my colleagues, acted out of a need and a desire to change that. Therefore, in the spirit of repentance for the sin of racism, the Justice League is building relationships and facilitating reparations between white houses of worship and collaborative partners to increase wealth equity for African Americans in the Greater Lansing region. Fourthly, I want to witness the beloved community in my lifetime. We are becoming stronger and braver as we navigate the pathway toward justice and approach what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. called the beloved community. A place where we all share equally and proudly in the collective fruits of our labor. And lastly, I want to congratulate all the wonderful Justice League members and volunteers and supporters. And we're growing daily. And you know, this group is going to make Lansing the envy of the nation. Because as we grow and heal, and that's very important, as we grow and heal from centuries of racial disparities and injustices, I invite you to come on that journey with us.
Our final Global Leaders Award goes to Leroy Harvey. Leroy has a long history of working on environmental issues, resource conservation, and clean energy solutions. Early in his career, he worked at Urban Options, an environmental and energy demonstration program in East Lansing. Some of you may remember that, I do. And it is still in existence. It has a different name, which I can't off the top of my head. There's energy something. Anyway, they're still working on that, those projects. He also has helped lead the founding of several environmental programs and groups in Michigan. He has taught at LCC on alternative energy and been with the MSU Extension Program. Now, I reside in Meridian Township, where Leroy serves as the Environmental Programs Coordinator, and our paths have crossed on numerous occasions. And I've been impressed by his energetic, upbeat demeanor. He definitely brings community members together to discuss, plan, and carry out recycling programs, energy initiatives, and climate action plans. Leroy might well be called a Renaissance man as well, for in addition to his environmental and energy work, he is an ordained minister, a musician, a father, and an athlete. Here to accept the award on his behalf is a friend and active volunteer that works in some of the groups that Leroy has organized. Her name is Elaine Putman. Elaine?
Group out here. I'm honored to be here to accept this award for Leroy. I've known Leroy for the past 15 years. You may notice in your program that there's something that mentioned his longevity of 15 years in the township. Actually, I applied for the job before Leroy got the job. And I'm so happy that it went to him because, you know, he had a broad-based knowledge of mid-Michigan. I'm from here, but I had been living in the Detroit area working on environmental initiatives in Macomb County for many years. And circumstances forced me to come back here, and I also needed a job. But Leroy has been outstanding. I am so happy that he's been selected for this. And his reach isn't just in Meridian Township. You may have noticed some other things that he's been involved with, but he continues to be working on environmental and sustainable issues in the mid-Michigan area in general and statewide as well. And one of his pet projects is community gardening. He's been a great advocate of community gardens. Leroy regrets not being able to make it today. He's out on one of his adventures, music event at Waldemar Nature Center tonight. He's been organizing and running, and he's He's an amazing musician. You should hear him sometime. He extends his thanks for this unexpected recognition and expresses his gratitude to the Greater Lansing United Nations Association and for all the nominees for their contributions to making our communities and the world a better place. He also asked that his appreciation be shared for the vision, enthusiasm, wisdom, and commitment of the members of the Meridian Energy Team, the Green Team, and others who continue to inspire and help in so many ways. And I've been honored, so honored to work with him these last 15 years. Thank you very much.
I really thank Elaine for stepping in at the last minute, and be willing to accept the award on his behalf. Not very many hours ago, not very many. Well, it's my pleasure, and I'm sure it will be yours, to invite back Cheyenne Zhang to perform October, Autumn Song from the Seasons, Opus 37A by Fyodor Ilyich Tchaikovsky. Thank you.
No sign.
Thank you so very much, Diane. That was beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm a little flustered. We have not heard from Jeffrey Sachs and, don't know why. And, anyway, I do apologize for that. I am going to do the announcement on the award, and then I have some closing remarks. And who knows, maybe he thought time change, who knows, many time zones away might come right at 7 o'clock. But anyway, if he does, we'll break in. Breaking news. But in the meantime, I find where I need to be in my notes. All right. Thank you for your patience. It is my honor this evening to present the award, I'll just call it the first award of this evening, but obviously not the last award of this evening. The Arthur H. Vandenberg Award for International Understanding, Respect, and Cooperation. It's very special to the Greater Lansing United Nations Association and MSU International Studies and Programs. It is in fact the top award presented by Luna. This award is given in the name of Arthur H. Vandenberg, United States Senator from Michigan from 1928 to 1951, who in 1945 announced his conversion from isolationism to internationalism and led his fellow state Republicans or Senate Republicans to support the creation of the United Nations and the United States membership in it. The Greater Lansing United Nations Association, along with Michigan State University International Studies and Programs, is pleased to present this award to Dr. Jeffrey Sachs. Jeffrey Sachs, who will not be joining us this evening, apparently, from China, must be really lucky. And anyway, he is a world-renowned economist, a best-selling author, innovative educator, and a global leader in sustainable development. He is widely recognized for bold and effective strategies to address complex challenges, including the escape from extreme poverty, the global battle against human-induced climate change, international debt and financial crises, national economic reforms, and the control of pandemic and epidemic diseases. Sachs serves as the director of the Center for Sustainable Development at Columbia University, where he holds the rank of university professor, the university's highest academic rank. Sachs was director of the Earth Institute at Columbia University from 2002 to 2016. He is president of the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network, co-chair of the Council of Engineers for the Energy Transition, academician of the Pontifical Academy of Social Sciences at the Vatican, commissioner of the UN Broadband Commission for Development, and Tan Sri Jeffrey Chi Honorary Distinguished Professor at Sunway University, and SDG advocate for UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. From 2001 to 2018, Sachs served as special advisor to UN Secretaries General Kofi Annan and Ban Ki-moon and Antonio Guterres. He has spent over 20 years as a professor at Harvard University, where he received his BA, MA, and PhD degrees. Sachs has received 42 honorary doctorates, and his recent awards include the 2022 Tang Prize in Sustainable Development, the Legion of Honor by decree of the President of the Republic of France, and the Order of the Cross from the President of Estonia. His most recent books are The Ages of Globalization, Geography, Technology, and Institutions, published in 2022, and Ethics in Action for Sustainable Development, published in 2022 as well. Let me grab this just in case. I'm really surprised. This is gonna be secretary. Pardon me. Hello, this is Bob. Hello. Let's call. I'll love you, bye. Well, you can see with all that Jeffrey Sachs has done, and obviously with many awards, he has been very active in social issues, in environmental issues, and is working on the world stage to make a difference. And we were just so delighted that we're going to be able to award him and have him speak to us today. And I'm very disappointed, as I think you probably are as well. But anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed the evening. Oh, I should have looked up soon. My apologies. Our Global Ed Awards are on the. So. It's my pleasure to actually bring John up. Where are you, John? John Messler. He is our vice president for global education. So John, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to get out of the way for a little while. Take a breather. Thank you.
You're unsettled with him not showing up.
I want to start. First of all, there's a couple things I'm going to do. I'm going to give a general introduction to the broader educational outreach activities of Luna, and then talk a little bit about the two awards, and then call my dear colleague and friend Robert Laurie to present the first award, and then I'll present the second award. I want to start though. Oh, sorry. I can't tell if whether I'm being heard or not. Is that okay? Okay. I first want to recognize my dear mentor and friend, Dave Wiley, who started his presentation with a Zambian proverb. I want to follow that up with a proverb probably coming from Southern Africa that I think is appropriate to what we've heard tonight.
How do we send it to him? Send it to the secretary.
Sustainable Development Goals and our honorees. And
I can look it up
one of them.
You want me to send it to you and you'll send it to him?
Unity of working together. It's not a personal achievement, it's an achievement of a collaboration between people. And that's the proverb. Those who want to go fast, go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far and get things done, go together. And I think that's what we've done tonight. Yes, fine. The program tonight underscores Luna's core commitment to promoting global literacy, international awareness, global understanding, peace and justice, and the central role of the UN and its agency, imperfect as they are, in the realization of these goals. We have celebrated tonight the important work of individuals, groups, and institutions in promoting and realizing the broader goals of the UN, and more specifically, the Sustainable Development Goals. Luna, through its work, recognizes that global awareness, global literacy, and a commitment to social economic development
highlighted by the SDGs, peace, justice, local and national, but the local, national, international level is a lifelong journey that must begin at a very early age. Consequently, we have throughout our history emphasized outreach to youth, focusing on the promotion of these values through educational connection with K-16 students and educators through a variety of programs and activities. In the past, we have worked with Model UN Club, shared SDG-focused programs in schools, supported World Food Day activities, and arranged visits of international scholars, including the Humphrey Fellows that have been highlighted tonight, to local schools. For the past decade, the global education, Luna has recognized the importance of global education through the celebration of Mid-Michigan students and educators who have exemplified in their work these global goals that we are recognizing tonight. We are privileged then tonight to recognize a student from a local area and a teacher from the local area. And I'll call my dear friend, Robert Laurie, to make the first presentation to our student awardee tonight.
Thank you, John, very much for everything, including the microphone. I want to introduce myself. My name is Robert Lurie, and I'll be introducing the next awardee, which I'm really excited about. I'm a member of the Luna board. I'm also the section director for Lattice, which is linking all types of teachers to international cross-cultural education. But really, I'm a 10th grade social studies teacher at Waverly High School. And I know what it's like to be, 6th hour on a Friday. This is starting to feel that way. So, keep moving things along. 2023 graduate of Waverly High School. Breasia Fletcher is the recipient of the Greater Lansing United Nations Award for an outstanding high school student tonight. Open-minded, empathetic, and globally connected. Breasia has the unique lived experience as a high school student who gives profound insights in examining issues from a wide variety of perspectives. Waverly High School is rated the 4th most diverse high school in Michigan. Students come from a wide variety of racial, socioeconomic, and cultural backgrounds. 37 different languages can be heard in the hallways of our school. Every day, there are opportunities for learning experiences both in and outside of the classroom. Breasia has maximized every opportunity that was available to her. During her 4 years, which included a Learn from Home year, Breasia intentionally chose to be involved and contribute to numerous activities that connect and align with goals of the missions of the United Nations. A few of these many below activities that Bree participated in was the World Food Prize, where she researched and wrote 2 separate papers looking to work to solve the problems of food insecurity. Breasia served as a student host for virtual visits at the places of worship in the Lansing area. Imam Chowdhury, Rabbi Bigman, Father Mark all expressed their admiration for interviewing skills and for thoughtful and kind approach. Breasia was invited to serve as guest panelist as an 11th grader, lending her perspective as a globally competent American student to a national educational conference in China. During the Q&A, after the panel, almost every question was directed to Breasia. The rest of the panelists were a little miffed. Okay? During the pandemic, Bree was a virtual partner with a fellow youth in the country of Georgia, who was unable to come to the United States because of the pandemic year for her exchange year, and they remain connected today. Breasia is a delightful, inquisitive tour guide and panelist to many of the international visitors that come to Waverly High School each year. Breasia has demonstrated a commitment to international understanding, which is the foundation of peace building. Breasia's curiosity about the world and her heartfelt commitment to making the world a place that we all want to live in is truly inspirational. Bree is a globally focused 21st century leader and her natural curiosity about the world motivates her to be a global change agent. Raja is a serious person on a serious mission, but she knows how to smile, she knows how to laugh, I can tell you that. For these reasons, Raja Fletcher is the recipient of the Greater Lansing United Nations Award for high school students. Please join us for the accolade.
Hi, guys, I'm Creasia, of course. So I was thinking, so I kind of like got short notice on like the speech thing. So like, I was thinking about what I wanted to say like all this morning, I think. And, I think the best thing that I can say right now is to be aware of the world around you. And use your opportunities like tonight. I see a lot of different people in this room. Use these opportunities. Don't let sorry, my bad.
He's online.
Don't let opportunities to be in a room with like different people with different experiences from yourself. Don't let those go like in vain or like dormant or anything. Learn something new. Knowledge really is power. Connect with other people. It's really good for you and it's really good for society. And yeah. Oh, sorry. And then like I guess a couple thank yous would be good. Mr. Lurie, thank you. Mr. Lurie always like I'm so sorry guys. I'm usually way better than this. Mr. Lurie, he always includes me in like everything to this day. Like your welcomes are a lot more quiet than his thank yous. And that's just something I admire about him. And then thank you to my church family because they always like find a way to show up for me. And then thank you for my mom and you know her parents and well her mom and you know her family and my family because they always just find a way to support what I'm doing even if they don't like it in the moment I guess. And then my siblings because they always push me to make my mom a little bit more scared, I guess. And yeah, and that's all, guys. Thank you.
You want to talk? You can hear me? Yes, I'm gonna mess with that. That is what kicked off the other thing, maybe, I don't know. You can tell him we have 1 minute.
Hello, Dr. Sachs. I am so sorry. I don't know why we didn't get the link to you, but it might have.
No problem. No problem.
When I entered, I have kind of gone through the introduction, given your bio. So I'm just going to talk to you for a moment and then give you the opportunity to share your remarks.
Great. How long should I speak for?
You have up to 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Fine. Very good. And the award is in the name of the Greater Lansing UN Association.
From the Greater Lansing United Nations Association.
Yeah.
State University International Studies Program.
Wonderful.
It's called the Hubert. Anyway, yeah,
High School.
Vandenberg Award.
Yes, phenomenal. Okay, thank you so
I'll
much.
mention the award one more time before I.
That's wonderful. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
We may have to test the audio a little bit. Right now it's playing on the computer. I have to make sure.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
So bear with me if we go back and forth a couple times.
My introduction was that one of the new initiatives that we are undertaking with Luna, what we're calling Adopt a School, where we're attempting to put together a comprehensive program what we will model at one middle school or high school in the Greater Lansing area within the next year. And what we want to do is to show how global goals, SDG goals, can be incorporated and infused into teaching across the existing curriculum, not new curriculum, but across the existing curriculum. But not just in the social studies, but just as important in the STEM area as well. And I noticed that Dan, our recipient, got his minor in chemistry education as well as social studies education. So he might be a good person to bring aboard to help us think about how we can really realize this goal of infusing the global SDGs also curriculum in an effective and meaningful way, which would actually work for the teachers who have so many demands on them, as you know. When I wrote to Dan to ask him what he would like to share about himself, in addition to what's already in our program, at the top of his list was his family. Dan's wife, Beth, who I already mentioned, is a first grade teacher at DeWitt. Dan and Beth are also parents of 3 children, Izzy in 7th grade, Will in 5th grade, and Abe in kindergarten. And he also shared that in addition to teaching, his hobbies include gardening, beekeeping, and coaching youth sports teams. So that's very important. And I also, I'm sure he'll do it, is acknowledge and recognize that his parents are here as well. That I can help celebrate. Let me just continue. Dan Wisner was enthusiastically nominated for the Global Education Educator of the Year Award by counselors, fellow teachers, and administrators at DeWitt. So it's important to recognize that this just doesn't come from one group of peers, but across the spectrum, and I think that's quite highly of Dan. Dan has taught a wide variety of social studies courses at the middle and high school level, including world history, AP world history, government, economics, and practical law. We didn't get to talk about what practical law was. Dan nominators puts special emphasis on the current course that he teaches, which is among the most popular electives at DeWitt High School, which focuses on Native Americans. Dan, who is the initiator of the Model UN Club at DeWitt, that's great to celebrate that, and leads an enthusiastic group of students, and they've been going to competitions year and will continue to do in Michigan. Reflective of Dan's commitment to his students is his new role this year, directing the middle school mentorship class, which pairs high school students with middle school students who need support. Dan nominators concluded their letter of support with this affirmation, and I quote, "His innovation in the classroom is admirable. His leadership as a teacher and advisor is inspiring. And we feel Dan Wisner is the epitome of what this global award represents. Therefore, we feel he is deserving of the Outstanding Global Educator Award." And we here at Luna agree as well. Dan, please come. And I call upon the
hello. Thank you so much for the award. I am very humbled, and when I went to prepare a speech, I also had forgotten, I had written a test that I was going to have us take with a few essays that night. I thought that in a perfect way. So that's at home, so we'll bring that tomorrow. I did prepare a few words. There's a Greek proverb that says, "A society grows great when old men plant trees in whose shade they may never sit." To me, education is about mentoring and storytelling and learning and experiencing and growing together. When I think of my own life and my own education, I can think of mentors in high school sciences and a math teacher who told me that education is the noble profession. When I think about my own career, I see that in a similar way. And with really the pushing of my students who dearly wanted a Model UN club and did much of the work right alongside me, if not more so at times, we were able to start doing that with the help of mentors from East Lansing High School. And so when I think about what that club means to our high school, the idea comes from a book by Dan Peet called Upstream. downstream problems he identifies are items that we react to once they've occurred. That upstream efforts that aim to prevent those problems from happening are where the true value can happen. And when we consider what students do when discussing Model UN and partaking in their own discussions and debates and resolution writing, it's that upstream concept that I think becomes so valuable. It's not the only one, but it's so valuable. With a debt of gratitude, I'd love to thank my beautiful wife, Beth, who is right alongside me, also in the education profession. My parents, who sacrificed dearly for us and taught me and my younger brother how to lead by example and to help others. And then so many other friends and family and coworkers and those who are right alongside, and the idea of living in a way in which we hopefully leave the earth in a little bit better than when we entered. So thank you, everyone.
First, I offer everybody an apology. Dr. Sachs did not get the Zoom link from us, so I will take responsibility for that. But I'm delighted we have gotten it to him. He is now with us on Zoom. And so hopefully him here. I'm afraid I was going to be blamed for false advertising, but we worked it out here. Anyway, you have heard his introduction. I let him know that I had shared that already. This is the award. I'm going to read the what's on the award. International Studies and Programs of Michigan State University and United Nations Association of the United States of America, Greater Lansing Chapter, present the Arthur H. Vandenberg Award for promoting international cooperation. Jeffrey D. Sachs, October 22, 2023. My friends, join me in celebrating Dr. Jeffrey Sachs as the 2023 recipient of the Arthur H. Vandenberg Award.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Dr. Sachs, we're so grateful to have you with us and welcome your words of wisdom to us. Dr. Sachs.
Well, thank you so much. Can you hear me? Yes? Yes. Great. Well, greetings to everybody. The wonders of Zoom have saved us, and I'm absolutely delighted to be together with you. I would have loved to come in person. I tried. The schedule was just impossible because I was, for the last 4 weeks, on a very complicated trip throughout Asia, ending up in a fascinating visit to the country of Nauru. Look it up. It's the smallest by population country of the United Nations, 12,000 people in a small island in the Pacific Ocean. And I was there until a couple of days ago, have just flown home and am leaving in a couple of days to fly to Rome, to the Vatican, and then onward to the Middle East, and then back to Europe. So it's very heavy travel days. But I greet you this evening from New York City, and by a miracle of Zoom, we can indeed be together. It's a great honor and delight for me to receive this wonderful award. For many, many reasons. First, Arthur Vandenberg is a legendary name in American foreign policy, and a name that I knew well growing up, because as I would like to emphasize, I am a Michigander. So I grew up in Oak Park, Michigan, just north of Detroit, and was raised in the public schools of Oak Park, and with many, many visits to Lansing, of course, and to Michigan State University, both as I was growing up in Michigan and during my career as an academic economist during 43 years. I'm also absolutely thrilled Greater Lansing United Nations Association. What wonderful work you do. And I was just listening to your wonderful awardee just before me, great teacher, and the intention to integrate the Sustainable Development Goals deeply into the curriculum of your chosen partner schools. Let me say that I would love to help in any way on that. I lead for the Secretary General of the UN a global network called the Sustainable Development Solutions Network, or SDSN. And one of our areas of focus is supporting secondary schools as well as universities to establish SDG curricula. So we have a number of materials that can be helpful. We have a number of free online materials that I think can be well integrated into a high school curriculum. I'm in the process of preparing a global course on the SDGs myself, which I would love to speak with you about and its possible relevance for the teaching that you are planning to do. But let me say how thrilled I was to hear of your intention to integrate the Sustainable Development Goals into the high school curriculum in the Greater Lansing area. The SDGs are not only the globally agreed goals adopted by all 193 UN member states, but they're also wonderful. And they are also guideposts for us in the United States for how to strengthen our own economy and society and social inclusion and social justice with environmental protection. But they're also a wonderful way to learn about the world. And just as I was hearing you say, to integrate them, of course, in the social studies, but also in the sciences, for instance, the science of the Earth's climate systems and biodiversity, and many, many other areas. Of course, understanding today and future engineering, understanding the food production system, understanding the global economy. The SDGs are, of course, at the center of all of those vital areas. So this is another reason that I'm so thrilled to receive the award from the United Nations Association of the Greater Lansing area. It's a huge privilege. There's another reason also, which I want to thank you for especially, and that is in the lovely citation in which the award is given to me for promoting global cooperation. This is my most cherished activity, I want to tell you. I have a tremendously lucky chance in life as a long time now professor of international economics to see the world and to meet people from all over the world. I've traveled to, I think now it's nearing 150 of the UN member states. So not all of them, but at least getting, I hope, to the home stretch of being able to go to all of them. And that's my hope. And what I absolutely see on the ground, and I saw it again these past 4 weeks in visiting China, in being in Beijing, in going to Australia, in being in Nauru. Our common hopes on this planet are so similar all over the world. Our common needs are so similar all over the world. And our interconnectedness is so strong and overwhelming that cooperation is absolutely the key factor in achieving any and all of our deep goals for our lives, for our nation, and for the world. We can't solve the climate problem alone in the United States, certainly not. If each country were responsible for its own climate and only for its own climate, the problem would be solved because we care about what's happening within our own neighborhood. But because the world climate depends on the actions of all 193 UN member states, we need cooperation to solve that. That's why we need a global treaty, the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. That's why we need a global agreement such as the Paris Climate Agreement. That's why we need SDG 13 to take climate action. That's why we need meetings like the one coming up in Dubai at the end of November, COP28 so-called, or the Conference of the Parties 28th session, which is the meeting of all of the 193 member state signatories, plus a few other signatories, so it's 196 actually, that meet once a year under the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. So Arthur Vandenberg was there right at the start with Franklin Roosevelt, two great leaders who knew we needed a United Nations. And we need the United Nations more than ever. We need the United Nations for our survival. We need the United Nations to end these horrific and extremely dangerous wars that are now taking place in Israel and Palestine and in Ukraine. And we need the United Nations to make sure that more wars do not break out and that tensions between the major powers, and these days including between the United States and China, are resolved according to international law, the UN Charter, and the basic standards of decency, which is the moral code of the United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I was in China, as I mentioned, just in the past few weeks, and I had extensive discussions with Chinese leaders and with dozens of the world's ambassadors to China in a meeting hosted by the resident coordinator of the United Nations country team, Mr. Siddhartha Chatterjee. And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there is no reason for us to have a conflict with China. What we need is cooperation. We need dialogue. We need negotiation. We need all countries abiding by the United Nations Charter, this brilliant, lucky creation, fragile as can be, because it depends on the goodwill of all nations, and especially the goodwill of the most powerful nations in the world, including our own. So it's for these reasons that I'm especially grateful to you for this honor. When I mentioned that I could not be with you in person because of the timing just being a little bit off, I said I would love to visit when I am next in Michigan. So I want to hold a date for us so that we have another chance for those who might be interested. But by Zoom, I want to tell you how grateful I am for the award, but especially for your work, because we need this great achievement of Arthur Vandenberg, of Franklin Roosevelt, of Eleanor Roosevelt, who presided over the adoption, the design and the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We need this to be appreciated across our land so that we not only champion the United Nations, but we enable it to do its vital work. And I can tell you, and you know it, it's never been more essential for humanity than now. Thank you again. Thank you for the Zoom link. Thank you for the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, and have a wonderful evening, and how much I appreciate being with you. Thank you.
And thank you so very much, Jeffrey. I'm just so glad that we connected, and I will stay in touch with you for the next time you are in Michigan. I'd love to have you in person.
Wonderful.
I apologize for the confusion this evening, but I'm glad that we were able to connect before the end of the program. So thank you, and I wish you the very best in your work. I'm so pleased with what you're doing.
Thank you so much, and please do keep me in mind as you prepare this SDG curriculum, because I'll absolutely want to give any help that I can.
I'll help connect them with you.
Wonderful. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Sometimes things work out. Well, as our evening draws to a close, I hope, like me, you have found hope in the lives of these amazing awardees. We just heard from Jeffrey Sachs and how he is acting on the world stage with the Secretary General of the UN for the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, for the productive environmental action, and for more. He is really an active man. We recognized State Senator Anthony and State Representative Hope for legislation to end child marriage in Michigan, thus protecting children. Willie Bryan was lifted up for the social justice movement of the Michigan Justice League, aimed at bringing greater equality and opportunity to African Americans in the Lansing area. For Roy Harvey, was awarded for his leadership on environmental and resource conservation in the Lansing area and rippling out across the state. We were introduced to the global educational efforts of Dan Wisner and Breasia Fletcher for their efforts to bring an international perspective to their schools and spheres of influence. We were entertained by the energetic sounds of the Horn Section 7, a young family that loves their God, loves people, and loves music. In addition, we heard the beautiful music of Jian Yang Zhang, a rising young pianist that soothed our soul. Please give me one more hand for these outstanding individuals. But despite the celebratory spirit of this evening, still my heart cries out over the wars in Palestine, Israel, Sudan, Ukraine, and other parts of the world. Please keep the peoples of these lands in your thoughts and prayers, and take action by contacting your legislators and the U.S. administration to voice your concerns and your hopes. Pay attention to the messages that are coming from General Secretary Antonio Guterres as he strives to emphasize human rights and seeks avenues to peaceful resolutions. And I hope that you will pick up the information that Dave Wiley has provided for us and take some action and help UNICEF meet the needs of those who are suffering from these many wars and other catastrophes in this world. If you are not a member of the Greater Lansing United Nations Association, I encourage you to join us. Your membership is a visible addition to the numbers of those who support the vital work of the UN. There is strength and political power in these numbers. In addition, we will keep you informed of key news and actions coming out of the UN and its agencies. We will continue to offer you programs on local and international issues related to the UN and the Sustainable Development Goals. And you will have access to communications from the UN and UNA USA. Stop by the Luna information table on your way out and ask Mary Flores, Vice President for Membership, to assist you in joining Luna. And there are other tables there as well from our co-sponsors. I hope that you'll stop and learn a little bit from them as well. You have time to do that. Our next program will be on December 3rd as we gather for Human Rights Day. As I mentioned earlier, we are celebrating the 75th anniversary of the Declaration of Human Rights. Jeffrey mentioned it to us too. So I hope that you will come and pay attention, that we won't be providing more details as that comes together. But I know we'll have a great program. We have it every year, and it's an important year for the International Declaration for Human Rights. Also, a couple of items of just housekeeping. We'd like you to leave your name tags and cords as you are leaving. And to get a little opportunity here, if you would like to enjoy a little bit of magic, Liz is going to turn the lights off just for a minute.
And my offer is, before I do, Jeffrey said, we were going to be able to join us, but well, that would be. Instead of speaking about all of our award sheets and our performers, and I thought that's plenty of that, right? You are all massive. We're still gonna put the lights on.
Lynn is talking without the mic, so you can't hear him. They're just going to try to turn off the lights to see the centerpieces.
Well, I encourage you to feel free to stay a while and mingle with the other guests. I thank you so much for joining us this evening. Stay hopeful and continue to work for equality, freedom, and justice for all. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night, and thank you for joining us. Bye.